Boom! Welcome back. Oh my God, it's a special guest, everybody. Look at
Hello.
it. Yes, it's Jane Ellesmere. She's amazing. She's a magical person. That's the only way. How would you describe yourself? Because she's not really human. But how would you describe yourself?
I teach mind mastery.
Right. Well, that's good enough. I thought it would be cool to talk about the experience I've just had because I spoke about it on the first show in the second season. That I went and I did this primal therapy course, which was really, really impactful. And I already talked about it, but basically, I was for the first time ever, I dealt with all of these repressed emotions and anger I had towards my parents. I had all this conditioning that I had mainly from my mom because I didn't really have a dad. And I was a little bit aware of it. I was starting to see things, but I wasn't really aware of it. And so I had a week of just getting out the anger and crying and I could just feel like a lightness after the course. Like something left me and my heart, I could just feel more. And I just got rid of some of that damage that I had. And I don't know what percentage, I don't know how much is left, but I feel like a different person. I feel so much more open and happy. And you said right away,
definitely,
you could tell the difference.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I think what I want to ask you is like, how do we get people to recognize that they have this, everyone has pain and shit that they're holding on to. So how do we even start that process for people to start to tap into it and eventually just to get rid of some of it? Because it's everyone has it. Everyone has it and they're just walking around. And this is what I learned from the course. I just learned that people are unaware of all of the patterns and the pain and it can sometimes pain, like your parents have pain from their parents who have pain from their parents, and it's just generations of shit. And for my example, my mother was batshit super angeraholic, really, really, really manic angeraholic, basically I call it. And I know that she changed when her dad died so my grandpa died when she was 10 and they were very, very close. That destroyed her. And she never recovered. She went literally batshit then. There was no, she never, this is Soviet Union. There's no dealing with pain in the Soviet Union. If you didn't get shot, shut up. You know what I mean? Yeah. You drink it away. I mean, literally, no joke. You drink it away. That's it. That's what you got. So she passed it on to her, and who knows, what other pain she had. But anyway, but no one has been dealing with their shit. And I think we're at a point in history that's so interesting because we have the tools and the knowledge to actually do the work now. 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, if you got fucked up, you got fucked up. You're done. So how do we get this healing out to the people? Where do we start?
Self-knowledge. And self-knowledge starts with meditation and mindfulness. Basically, the more you know your true self, the more you understand what is there out of sync. Make sense? So, for example, imagine you have a box and it's closed, so you don't know what's inside. And if someone said, well, do you think is there anything wrong with the contents of the box? And you would say, well, I think no, I suppose it's all right, but you don't know. So if you open the lid and you look inside and you know what's inside really true to you and also what serves you and what makes you stronger, then you will be able to instantly or pretty much instantly identify what is that doesn't belong there. But for that to happen, you actually have to look inside. And this is what most people don't do because they rush. They keep being influenced by other people's thoughts. And what happens is because they run their lives on autopilot, they don't stop and think, then things are happening to them rather than they decide consciously and shape their lives consciously. So with the moment that you tell yourself to stop and think and notice and challenge things, suddenly your life changes because suddenly you discover more and more things about yourself. And then, you can find out those pain patterns, for example, you were completely unaware of before because you never looked into them. But once you realize what it is that you're supposed to be, you become more and more self-aware. Then with that awareness, it's like, kindling a light within you. So that light of awareness will show you all the cracks, all the dark spots, all the construction work that needs to be done within yourself. So it's basically the light that helps you see. But as I said, most people don't stop and think. And this is one of the most important things you can do, to help yourself. Just give yourself some quiet time, even if it's not proper meditation. On our other podcast, we were talking about mindfulness, how you can take just 30 seconds at a time out of your day, which does not interfere with anything, but it allows you to learn more about yourself. It allows you to actually discover how you feel. And let's say you're doing something, you're doing the dishes, or I don't know, you're walking a dog, and suddenly you realize that you're not feeling well or you're not feeling happy. Then you can ask yourself why it is I'm not feeling happy, and start looking for answers. And then the answers will come because they're obviously within you already. You just haven't paid attention to them before. But now, as you start paying attention, they will come to you. And from that, you will just build up that system and the whole understanding of you as a person. And that understanding will help you spot everything that should not be there. So this is how you start.
I mean, that sounds, it makes sense, but I think for most people it's so difficult to just even tune in. You see what I'm saying? Like
Don't
most
try
people,
to force it.
most people don't listen at all to themselves, and that's the thing. And this is one of the main things I've been talking about for years. It's like even when you want to go talk to another person, you want to say something, you want to interact, listen to yourself, and you will feel what the other person needs, or you'll feel what you want to say, what's natural in the moment. But people are so disconnected. They don't even know what they feel. They don't even know what they think a lot of the time.
This is why mindfulness will help.
Right.
Start noticing. So if you find it difficult to listen to what's within you to begin with, just notice what's around. Surely you can notice, where you are and whether you're sitting or standing. So if you are sober and awake, you should be able to tell fairly easily whether you're sitting or standing or lying down, and also whether it's hot or cold in the room. And then you can also notice what thoughts flow from your through your mind. So you obviously can see whether they are good thoughts or bad thoughts. So on that level, you do not even require anything. You just observe what is there. And I think a small trap that many people fall into is that they have expectations of some sort of an achievement straight away. As soon as they start doing any kind of self-development practices, they assume that from the day one, they're going to be perfect and have complete mastery in everything. And if they're not, they get disappointed and they get frustrated and they think that they have no skills. But as I sometimes say, it's almost like, imagine you decide to start working out and you go to the gym. And on the first day, you may not be as good as some other, seasoned people or athletes. So you may not be obviously an athlete on the first day. And everyone understands that. So it's all right. Everyone has this idea that, okay, well, I cannot lift the heaviest weight right now, but at some point in time, I should be able to do that if I exercise regularly. So they don't get disappointed that they can't lift it straight away. But with mind mastery and meditation, many people, if they don't get the results, the ultimate, amazing, brilliant, stunning results straight away, they get disappointed. But the path of a warrior is to keep going because you know about your goal. There is no disappointment that can get in your way. You know what they're working towards, and this is all that matters. So with this practice as well, do not expect any glorious results straight away. Just know why and what you're doing and keep doing it. And the results will come. Do not force, just relax into them and they will be there. So start small and build up and you will get there.
It's such an important point. I just had a flashbulb go off, because that's why it's so important to know where you're going, like your purpose. Because if you know where you're going and that inspires you, because that's why you're here on the planet, it doesn't matter if you don't get results right away. It doesn't matter if you fail. It makes no difference, actually, how many times you fail or how hard it is, because, it makes a difference, but it doesn't make a difference because it doesn't matter. You're going to get there no matter what, because that's who you are.
Yeah, it's a
who
learning
you are
curve.
is exactly.
It's a learning curve.
And so this is why it fits in so much with what we're talking about, all the time. When you know your purpose, that supersedes any of the other crap. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what all the crap is because you know where you're going. And it's interesting too that people put all this pressure on themselves. Like they think you have to be a Zen monk and you just have to sit there for an hour meditating. But that's the thing. Mindfulness is literally just mindfulness, just being aware of anything, like you, sounds around you, what's going on. And then, so if you could just be aware of your outside environment, then you can tune into what's happening inside you on a physical level, just your breathing or whatever. And then you can shift that to, okay, how am I feeling? And then how am I thinking? So, and it can just really just start from, just taking some time in your day to be present.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so easy.
And it doesn't take any extra time out of your day because, well, you're living your day anyway, so you can always become present.
But let's get back into the healing, because I really want to talk, because I mean, so many people out there, they don't, again, maybe they're not conscious of it, but they have these patterns, patterns in relationships. They keep, you know what I'm saying? They keep falling into these same patterns that are not useful. Yes. That are and they wonder, like, why does this keep happening to me? Well, it's happening to you because you're attracting it. And it doesn't just mean like on a universal karmic level, maybe, but more likely it's just patterns from your parents or from their parents or things you picked up somewhere else along the way. You see what I mean?
Yeah, our mind runs on patterns. Exactly. It's basically like pieces of software which get executed time and time again.
Well, tell us more about that. That sounds interesting.
Okay, so...
Because I bet you everyone's listening going, yeah, well, I can see that I keep doing shit that's not useful, but how do I stop? Because they
self-knowledge and mindfulness. This is where you start.
Same thing as at the beginning.
I'm sorry, this is what you do.
Well, tell us more about the mind. You've told me this before. It's very interesting.
Well, basically, imagine that your mind is like a laptop.
Ooh, fancy.
It has all sorts of different software on it. But instead of actually taking control over what is there, most people just basically put up with whatever pieces of software is there. And there's lots of junk, but they never go through it and never check. So most people just assume that if their laptop is slow, it's just given, for example, and they would not try and see, oh, maybe, there is some piece of software that slows it down. And it's quite similar with our minds. So what happens is there are lots of processes running at the background at all times. And many of those, unfortunately, are negative, self-destructive, self-sabotaging processes, which can be stopped, and they should be stopped. And the only reason why they're even running there is because we don't look at them and we don't take conscious control. So all those things that are affecting us on a daily basis, we could actually deal with them. But the majority of people do not. So those pieces of so-called mental software, they keep running in the background and they keep pushing you into the same circumstances over and over again. So you actually will have to experience this amount of pain until you get so fed up. Then you think, okay, I have to deal with it. I have to do something about it. I'm fed up. And then with that moment, you look inside, you notice what is there. And, if you're lucky, if you find the right coach, the right therapist, the right teacher, they will help you to identify and weed out that particular piece of code. The problem is, though, that we actually usually run many of them, so not just one or two, unfortunately, because as our minds are open and unprotected, we tend to let into our mind all sorts of harmful, really, really harmful software, or viruses, so to speak. And because our minds are full of viruses, I know it's bad, but it's what it is. And we are not aware of it because we just take it as given. It's like, okay, it is what it is. It's not. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't need that. You don't need pain. You don't need to run junk software in your mind. It's all removable. You can actually uninstall it. I promise you can. I've done it. My students done it. So it is doable. But most people don't do it because they just don't realize. And courses and things like that usually just give you, let's say, one or two things to deal with. Whereas if you do mind mastery as a discipline, it teaches you to strengthen and rewrite the structure of your mind. So with that, you actually deal with many, many things that are lying there buried under the surface. And this is why mind mastery, I think, is the ultimate tool. And meditation is one of the techniques that we use, but it's the ultimate tool because it tackles not just one or two or three things, but you actually look into the whole edifice of your mind and you can fix it from within.
Well, if that's not an argument to start fucking meditating, I don't know what is. Jesus Christ. You can fix all your problems and evil programs that are controlling you with this one thing, meditation. Go do it now.
You can have a possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Oh, and also I just did a course, Art of Living Happiness program, where they teach you some breathing techniques, and it's fascinating because you have to breathe in a certain way and sometimes quite fast. So there's no room for thoughts because you're thinking my nose is going to explode because you're there going. And so how do you be thinking when you're? I mean, you can, but it's harder. So it pulls. Kriya. So it pulls you into the body, and then you feel really good and really relaxed and kind of more like yourself after, because you're so chill. Then you have a few minutes of like just being. You see what I'm saying? So it's very, and for me, that's way more effective than just sit there and try not to think. Yeah, when thoughts come, just ignore them. Why can't? There's just more thoughts come all the time. What are you talking about? It doesn't end ever. It never ends ever, 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 ever.
And that's normal. That's perfectly normal.
Well, some of us are worse than others. But when you're doing something, that's so much more effective. And I've noticed, like, you can just walk and just be conscious of your feet, or even you can be washing dishes, or you can be listening to music, whatever. And I've had amazing stuff happen recently to me, like literally changes in the heart, just opening up, feeling compassion, crying, just from listening to certain lamas and beautiful music, high vibration music, where I'm literally it's in Chinese, I don't know what they're saying, but I'm tuning into the frequency of it, and it's literally changing me, and I stopped, and I'm just moving, and I'm feeling it, and it's a meditation, because my mind turns off, and I'm just in the music, and suddenly I'm just being. It's amazing. So the point is, just find your own tool. Like, try music, try doing things, go for a run, get a bike, anything. Try take the course, do the Kriya if you want to. But it's all of it does the same thing. It turns your mind off and puts you into just being. So do whatever you have to do to get into that state more and more often, and then you can actually start accessing what's going on inside. Yeah. Right?
There are lots of different kinds of meditation, so you can choose whichever fits you. And actually, in Europe, we traditionally had a walking meditation. Although most people don't describe it as such, but many writers and thinkers would go for a walk to actually compose their ideas. And the reason why, because as you walk, you naturally have this pace of just natural rhythm. And then you can tune into it, and you can become, spaced out. Basically, you go into a state of trance, and then your mind becomes clear, and you can have brilliant ideas. So people who do practice this type will tell you that it's wonderful and it works really well for them. So not everyone finds it easy to just sit on a cushion somewhere in a quiet room. Some people need a dancing meditation or music or mandalas, or they can use a walking meditation. So there are lots and lots of different types, and the best way to find your type is to know your element.
I mean, it's almost like I want to ask you that, but we're at the 18-minute mark, sweetheart. We can't go into that whole thing. That's gonna have to be another episode. Gonna have to be another episode. So how do we? So other than inspiring people to go and find their type of meditation, so that they can go inside and start, seeing these patterns, because it still sounds like a difficult thing to do for most people. Like even if they're meditating, things do come up, but I think you really have to be in touch with yourself to a certain degree before that starts to happen. Is there anything else they could do to try and find those patterns in that shit other than meditation? Is there any other tool?
No, mindfulness. Just watch. Just be an observer of your thoughts. Obviously there are lots of external techniques as well that you can use. So like the course you just took, hypnosis is one of them as well. So there are lots of external help available, but if you want to do it yourself, then I would say mindfulness and meditation and yoga are the best ways of getting there, if you just want to work on your own. Obviously, saying that, it's still not a good idea not to have a teacher. And I wanted to talk about it, actually, and I do tell people about it because it's really, really important just to mention this thing. Many people these days assume that they can just watch something on YouTube or just read a book, and then suddenly they're gurus. Or even if they're not even gurus, they suddenly are experienced in psychic self-development. The thing is, it's a very dangerous practice, or serious literature in the past, let's say thousands of years ago, they would tell you the same thing. Trying those things on your own can be quite dangerous and actually harmful. And yes, wonderful as meditation is, there is a, well, dark side of meditation, so to speak. There is a side effect to it, because things like that are real life weapons. They're not toys to play with. And the thing is, if you don't achieve any results, it's, well, it's all right, but at least, you know, at least you're not damaging yourself. So sometimes going there without a teacher is like learning to drive without an instructor. And yeah, you may be lucky enough to figure things out for yourself, but some people are not that lucky. So it is really, really important that you find a real teacher, not some ascended master, not some spirit, not some ghost talking to you at night, but a physical living being that can watch after you and look, you know, help you with your development, see if you're making mistakes, correct those, put you on the right track when you veer from that track, and actually be there for you, you know, just having your back. It's really, really important, because in this particular discipline, being self-taught could actually be a really strenuous and long path. And sometimes it can take you years and years to get somewhere where you can get much faster with a teacher. So it's really important to have a teacher on your journey. And if you don't have a teacher, I encourage you, go and find someone. Find someone who you can trust, who gives you a good vibe, and who actually shows through their example that they've achieved what they're preaching.
That's good advice. That's good advice. I think people underestimate the value of having a teacher, like a guide. It really is really, really powerful.
It makes a massive difference.
It makes a massive difference. Yeah. No. Yeah, and I think it's almost like an ego thing. You know, people don't want to admit that they need help, but just because you're getting someone who's an expert at something to assist you doesn't mean that you suck. It just means you want to learn something faster.
Yeah, you're not any less for it.
No, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, just in basic economics, it's just like when people specialize in things, that's when you get people who are really good at things who can help everyone else get really good. Because, you know, if we all get just good at farming, well, we'll have a bunch of people who are good at farming, but then who's going to build the houses? Exactly. Who's going to make the clothes? We're gonna be naked and sitting on this under trees with lots of food. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but perfectly formed.
But we're gonna be eating a lot. Doesn't make sense. So you want people who are really good at something, and that's why you should go and develop your skill, whatever it is, and be amazing at it. But if you want to get better at other skills, go to people who are amazing at those things. Do a skill swap, maybe, you know. But that's the way it works. That's the idea of it.
Yes.
Rather than no, I'm good. No, I'm gonna figure it all out. Yeah, I'm gonna all the things in life that I need to be good at, I'm gonna do it all by myself. It's like, no, you're not. You're not gonna do it by yourself. Trip. It's an ego trip for sure. And it was hard for me actually to go into this course. You know what I mean? Because as a teacher, I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna go and they're gonna tell me how to fix me and my shit, and I'm just like, yeah, just do it. You're fucked up. Just go. And I went, and I'm like, it's the best thing I ever did in my life. You know, and it just had to be me just moving the ego aside and being like, hey, I'm damaged, same as everyone else. Let's go and let's improve ourselves.
But,
that's it.
Yeah, but some people are stronger than others, so learn from the strong.
Yeah,
and you'll be all right.
I'll go with that. Jane, wonderful to have you on the show. As always. I was gonna go for a hand kiss, but you gave me both of them, so we'll do. Great to see you, and
great to see you too.
And we'll have you back soon.
Thank you.